Hello, ladies and gentlemen, fans. We are back, and we are virus-free. We are commando casting, militant casting to the masses of fans around the country and around the world. Welcome to our new listeners and to our local listeners, and I'll get into that in a minute, to the one podcast for all your martial arts, wrestling, fitness, and motivational needs. Welcome to the 36th Chamber. Oops, sorry, wrong spiel. Welcome, I meant, to episode 36 of the worldwide podcast known as the Yin and The Yang. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, the former two-time USW heavyweight champion and lifelong martial artist, known as Anthony Chu, a.k.a. Chuzilla, the ultimate thriller. All muscle, no filler, baby. And on today's episode, our favorite prick in MMA is gone, and good riddance to him. A former champion gets pardoned by the most unusual source. We review UFC 225 last night, Legends of the Ring that happened this past weekend, Dana White eliminates weigh-ins, a dumbass in MMA does some domestic violence, and the most controversial push-the-envelope topic of this history's podcast is about to be unveiled. A double chewed out Q&A and a whole lot more. So, ladies and gentlemen, to join me in this revolution, allow me to introduce to you your co-host, ladies and gentlemen, the man behind the mic. Folks, here we go. Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, he is the undeniable, wrestling certifiable, speak bad about WWE, and he'll get hostile, volatile. He'll walk into an arena and the fans bow down when they hear Voodoo Child. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Larry. Virtual Boy rules the world 365 Mormon.
The Virtual Boy will make its triumphant return one day. That I vow.
Said no one.
Ooh. Ouch.
No, actually, you know what? I kind of like the Virtual Boy if it was actually like made 10, 20 years later. It would have been good.
This is true. We talked about it a couple weeks ago on the Retro Gamers podcast about how the Virtual Boy is probably a little bit ahead of its time. Did you play the Virtual Boy when I brought it over that day?
Yes.
You did?
Yes,
okay.
I did.
All those years ago. But
hey, it was cool, man.
Yeah,
I had no problems with that.
It was very cool. Great to be back here on the podcast. We had a little bit of technical difficulties last week, but we're back.
The computer went viral. Excuse me. It had a virus in it. And then basically, by the way, may I ask you a question?
No, but go ahead.
How much more of a prick can you be?
What are you talking about?
Oh, what am I talking about? Let's shoot from the hip, as the song says, okay? You treat this podcast like it is the redheaded stepchild, and I've said this plenty of times before, that you have the Retro Gamers on, no problems. The Retro Gamers has never had one virus. All of a sudden, the better half celebrates 1 year. Big deal. The big send-off. Phenomenal job. Everybody's congratulating the better half, right? Not one virus has ever happened to any of your computers. All of a sudden now, we're ready to record episode 36, and all of a sudden, virus, right? Now, instead of fixing the problem, what do? For example, we were supposed to record this afternoon at 12:30, right? I call you up, I dial you up, and you're, what the hell's that guy's name? Jefferson? I think that's what his name is. You're a butler. I don't know what you call that guy, all right?
It is,
right?
yeah.
He tells me you're playing golf with the chief of police, right? So all of a sudden I get a text message from you. Oh, let's make it 4 o'clock. Well, I guess you have to play 3 hours worth of golf in the rain, all right? 4 o'clock comes along. I sign on. I call again. Jefferson tells me you're not home. You went mall shopping for video games, all right, to prepare for the Retro Gamers. 6 o'clock comes around. Nothing. I didn't even get to hear from you. No Jefferson, nothing like that. He left for the day. And then all of a sudden I get a text from you at 12:30 telling me to be prepared to record at night. What the hell's going on here?
I am a man of leisure. I am a man of talent. I am a man who has needs, and those needs were filled today. I filled all my holes during the golf game. I was able to play with my joystick.
Oh, I'm sure you were.
After buying the video games.
Oh, I'm sure you were.
And Jefferson...
That explains why the joysticks are sticky.
Why are you touching my joystick?
Whoa! Hey, listen. This is a kid's show, all right?
I hope not.
If any kid listens to the show, they are in some deep shit. But anyway,
I had plans. I was busy. You know, the chief, he only has so many hours in a week to be able to get his leisurely golf game in.
Oh, well, it's nice to see that you're taking care of your constituents there. And, oh, yes. And by the way, allow me to say one other thing, all right? You are the ultimate prick this week.
I think you already said
right?
That.
Possibly this month.
You've already said. What?
I also found out you future endeavored ensign?
Yes.
He just got out of no. He just got out of the hospital. That poor kid got his ass kicked by Steven Seagal, got a broken arm, broken leg, and then when he was on the solo show, and then all of a sudden, he gets released from the hospital, and you fire him.
He did.
Do you not have a heart? What the fuck is the matter with you?
He did not supply the required doctor's note that is mandated here at the More of the Same Network when you're out of work more than 3 days. How was I supposed to know where he was? How was I supposed to know where his injuries were? How was I supposed to know that they were legit injuries other than hearing from a doctor?
Wow, you are one evil son of a bitch this week.
I'm just playing it by the rules.
For God's sake.
Look, here's the book, and this is what we go by.
Oh, good Lord. Anyway, unbelievable. We have a show to do here. How was your week?
My week was actually...
It doesn't matter how good your week was. Listen, we have a show to do. So, the first topic at hand, you don't ask me how my week was.
Because I don't care at this point how your week was.
And you see, now you know how it feels when you treat other people horribly.
Yeah, but when I count the checks at the end of the week.
Oh, so we're going to go there, huh? Okay. I hope your stock goes down 20 points.
Hey,
anyway.
It's at an all-time high right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. Oh, and by the way, let's also tell the fans exactly what happened last night as to the fact that I nearly got freaking arrested by your Merrick Township Police.
Well, look, there's a certain quality of person that is allowed in Merrick, and you may not necessarily fit that profile of the residency here on Long Island that... Oh, wait, what are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. What happened? You're still... Oh, you're done talking. Oh, okay. So allow me to tell you what happened last night, fans. So Larry calls me up and tells me, Thaddeus is not driving today. And then all of a sudden he's like, hey, I want to go see UFC. Do you want to come over? So we reviewed UFC 225 last night, right? We're watching it. He makes me trek from Central Jersey all the way the fuck out there to Merrick, all right? And out of nowhere, I go over there, right? And apparently there's cops following me. So all of a sudden now, it's like I come to the manor, right?
Well, there's your first issue.
Well, apparently, I thought you got we'll explain that in a second. You come out, all of a sudden, the cop cars go away. We go to the fights, all right? And we go watch UFC 225, and then all of a sudden, as you're being dropped off, cops following me again. Stops me and says to me that I'm violating a restraining order, or you still have not lifted that goddamn thing yet? What the fuck, Larry? It's been almost 2-3 weeks.
It takes a lot of time for this stuff to work its way back out of the system. It's
You son of a...
it's like swallowing gum.
You play golf with the chief of police. You couldn't just get the goddamn thing lifted, have him rip up the paper, and tell him his boys to...
Not television. What do you think this is, theater of the mind? What do you think, we just make all this stuff up? Do you think we're just going off the top of our heads? Like these people don't exist? Like we're just
I think you're going over your head.
Like we're trying to entertain the masses?
It's a podcast built for the people. Of course we're entertaining the fans. We're taking care of the people.
Okay, look. Let me... Jeremiah, do me a favor. Can you play a little bit of music over the bed here? I got to talk to Mr. Chu. And I don't want the listeners to hear anything. So just tell me when the music is playing. All right, thank you, Jeremiah. Anthony, listen, these rubes that listen to our show, don't worry. The restraining order is being worked on, but I don't need these half-wits to realize that, it takes time. I can't just rip it up because the chief of police happens to have in his back pocket and these gumballs that download our episode each and every week.
Don't talk about people like that.
I'm sorry, what do you mean, what song to play? The music should have already been playing. You just got exposed. You just guys are, how dare you talk about the militants and the commandos like this? How dare you talk about the people who support our podcast? Did that go out on the air?
You're goddamn right, man.
April Fools, everybody. April Fools.
Yeah, like two and a half months late. Nice one. That was the worst save. I think that LeBron could have saved his NBA career before you saved what you just said in the podcast, for God's sake. That was horrible. That was absolutely horrible. And in bad taste, too, to our fans. How do you talk about our fans like that? Fans, just know that I am your voice, and we fight against people like Larry over here. Now, are you ready to do a show yet?
I think it's time for us to move on. I think we need to forget all this.
I think so. Okay. Now,
time to enjoy the show.
Allow me to say that I am not exactly the first topic here is that the former heavyweight boxing champion of the world, Jack Johnson, gets a pardon from all people. President Trump gives him a pardon. Now, listen, I'm not a Trump supporter, okay? And I don't want to get involved in this. I'm not a fan of his at all. And yeah, I know you're a huge fan of his, but
I contributed heavily to his campaign.
Oh, I'm sure you did, and this is why our viewership is down the drain.
Maybe not. Some places it's higher than before.
Yeah, the same people who get their information from their brother-in-law at the cookout or Jethro at the Jiffy Lube.
I think that's rude, but okay.
Anyhow, yeah, sure. So in more than 100 years, the very first black heavyweight champion, the first African-American heavyweight champion of the world, Jack Johnson, who's a legendary heavyweight boxing champion for so long. He's undisputed, and his legacy was tarnished by a racially tainted criminal conviction. Now, for those of you who don't exactly know what the story behind this is that, let's put it this way, his battles against his Caucasian opponents in the ring and outside of it gave rise to a movie called The Great White Hope, play and movie that was basically lionized as a barrier breaker. What had happened was he had a criminal conviction in 1913.
Wow.
Okay, which was the most craziest thing because he supposedly violated something called the Mann Act. All right. Do you know what that is?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay, so he transported a white woman across state lines. Okay, and this haunted him well after his death in 1946. At apparently, for years, celebrities, politicians, athletes have pretty much really, really tried to get Jack Johnson's name cleared for just to get pardoned. And, although his own record on civil rights has come into question, they say that apparently Mr. Trump, flanked by boxing champions and Sylvester Stallone, the actor who brought this case to national attention, had signed an order pardoning Jack Johnson. Now, here's the thing, okay? Let's put it this way. The president called Johnson a truly great fighter who had a tough life but served 10 months in a federal prison for what many viewed was racially motivated injustice. So basically, let's put it this way, okay? The best way to put it is that historically, interracial relationships of any kind, especially during Jack Johnson's time, is considered a huge taboo. And let's put it this way. He transported a woman who was supposedly his lover. This is a guy. Jack Johnson was he was pretty much the very first trash talker Skywalker. The guy partied. He had, he really, really had a wild rock star lifestyle. And he did that one thing that we consider, crazy at this point. But Jack Johnson was no joke, man. He was outspoken in a way that black celebrities rarely were at the time. He was convicted of violating, as I had said, the Mann Act. That this was the crime. According to this one article of the New York Times, he transported a white woman across state lines for quote unquote immoral purposes. All right. The woman Johnson transported, Belle Schreiber, worked as a prostitute and had been one of the heavyweight champion's many lovers. Johnson was sentenced to a year in prison, but he fled the country for several years and returning in 1920 to serve a 10-month sentence. Decades after Johnson was convicted under the Mann Act, his case drew significant attention as a gross miscarriage of injustice. So, believe it or not, Trump pardons him, and this is rather interesting because, and again, I'm not a Trump supporter at all, but I will say you do have to give the man credit where credit is due, considering the idea that Obama didn't. It's something that was actually advocated while Barack Obama was our president, and he didn't, pardon Jack Johnson at all. So a lot of people found it very, very surprising that, Trump would just turn around and just pardon him. Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, it's done by, it's done for publicity. It's done to change a tarnished image or whatever. No, I got to say, I got to give him some credit here. I mean, this is not, this is a huge win for the black community, especially at a time where racial tensions are very high, in many, many different issues in this country.
Yeah, and, of course, everyone, it's today's day and age, you're either extremely for and extremely against President Trump, which I still don't understand why, because he really hasn't done anything to show that he's been a racist or anything like that. Actually, if his history dictates anything, it shows that he's actually done a lot with the community, for the community, and with its leaders as well. Even so, some of the leaders in the black community really don't represent their community well. But
that's a little bit controversial there.
It is, but it's also true.
And it's debatable too.
It's proven points. They're out there. But with this poll,
I can't say I agree.
All right, well, it's there. You can look it up.
It's also a matter of opinion too.
Well, yeah, matter of opinion, but he's actually done a lot, but people won't give him the credit.
Like what?
He's done, like in the past, he's actually. I've seen photos of him with, whether it be Sharpton, Jackson. He's been actually. He was. What was that news story? I forgot. I think it was in the late 80s, I think it was, where he was just he was in his car and saw someone getting mugged, and it was in the newspaper. It was in the newspaper. He got out and helped the guy, stop the mugger, stop the robber, and actually helped out. And he's never actually done anything to warrant, as far as in that community, to warrant the the negative press, which is all going to be out there anyway, because he's just for some reason a catalyst for it.
We'll have our archivist back there figure this out and look that one up, because I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, so it's definitely out there, but the news media won't show it. Anyway, the this pardoning thing, though, he's on a pardoning kick right now. Actually, he's pardoning people left and right. But hey, if it's there, if the facts were there that this injustice to Jack Johnson was preeminent even in the 20s and the 30s, in the teens, then yeah, why not? It may be a bit way after he died, but still, history will show that Johnson's criminal record, or at least has one less thing. I don't know if he had any other criminal record of it, but either will be clean or at least has one less thing on it, because that whole issue there is pretty much gone.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm glad that, finally, for Jack Johnson's family of the modern day era, many of them did not get to see that pardon, and their family name is finally cleared up. Jack Johnson was one badass fighter, man. I could say that much right now. And it was a very different time. The Mann Act, I don't even think is actually even in effect anymore. I mean,
I'm sure
look at Sputnik Monroe. Sputnik Monroe was trying to appeal to an African American community in the 1960s, and that's like 50-something years after the Jack Johnson violates the Mann Act. And Sputnik Monroe was white. He was working in the Memphis territory as a professional wrestler, and he drew a massive crowd, like a record-breaking crowd in Memphis, selling out this massive stadium, or this massive baseball field, where he fought Billy Wicks in a record-breaking attendance. And African Americans were not allowed to sit with the general audience. They were sitting in a place called the Crow's Nest, which is why it was called that. And I mean, when Sputnik Monroe tried to appeal to the African American community by going to Beale Street, he got arrested for a Southern vagrancy thing called mopery. He got arrested for drinking in the Negro, in what they called at the time the Negro cafes. I mean, it was just,
times were extremely different, whether right or wrong. Times were extremely different, and with everything, we improve. Trust me, because how it is now is much better than how it was 50 years ago, and 50 years ago was much better than it was 100 years before that, and so on and so forth. So we continue to thrive. We continue to, do best for ourselves, and we will continue to do that until the sun finally supernovas and completely wipes out the entire galaxy.
Thank you very much, Carl Sagan. I appreciate that.
That is inevitable in 20,000 years, but it's coming.
Well, I ain't going to be around 20,000 years later, so I ain't got nothing to worry about.
Well, with the research I'm doing right now, I'm making some breakthroughs for some technology. I mean, no, you're right. None of us will be here in 20,000 years.
Yeah, okay. That's nice. Well, anyway, I'm so glad to see that you're so environmentally conscious and friendly there. At least you're friendly to something or somebody.
You are one of my best friends.
That's controversial now, too.
With friends like you, who needs enemies?
Oh, God. Oh, God, help me. Oh, God. Jeremiah, get me another cup of coffee, please. This time, make it like a triple shot. Anyway, so a hearty congratulations and much happiness to Jack Johnson's family for his name being cleared here. And now, okay, I'm going to say this to you right now. A lot's going on in the MMA world, but there is another piece of good news besides Jack Johnson getting pardoned, is that finally our favorite prick to target in MMA is gone. You know what I'm talking about, Larry?
Who are you talking about?
Michael the Count Bisping has finally officially retired.
Wow.
And I sleep so much better at night. I am so happy at the fact that I don't need to talk about this brash prick anymore because he's about as I would rather be a Conor McGregor fan.
Wow.
Before I become a Bisping fan.
Holy cow. That's saying a lot.
All right, that is saying a lot. Now, everybody's saying, oh, he has this storied career, and he's like an ultimate fighter winner, and he's captured the title.
Hall of Famer?
He's persevered. Oh, yeah, and he's possible Hall of Fame material. Well, listen, folks, how come nobody talks about how much of a dick he was when he was building? Now, a lot of you will probably go, oh, well, Chew doesn't like Michael Bisping because, he talks a lot of crap, and he's just hating on his career because Chew's never fought MMA. Well, listen, I'm not an MMA fighter. I've trained in it. I'm training in it. Doesn't mean that I'm a fighter. Why does everybody use MMA as a measuring stick?
Lover, not a fighter.
Actually, in your case, it's I love you. But you see, that doesn't mean that I like you. Brother Lawrence. Now, the thing about it is that Bisping has always been a dick. Now, you can always, and at least in camera, I don't know what the guy's personal life is, but he's brash. He talks lots of shit. How in the hell is it that you barely fight for the last few years and you're still in the top 5 in the middleweight division? Who the fuck does these rankings in UFC? Like, how stupid can you be? Where the hell is this coming from? I just don't understand.
When was the last time he fought?
The last time he fought was when he fought GSP. No. After GSP, he fought somebody else.
Roughly how long ago was that?
Probably about a couple months ago.
Oh, recently. Okay.
And he lost, yeah. I mean, but what I'm saying is that he's, I don't like his attitude. You know that I'm not a fan of his. He talks lots of shit, right? And the thing is, it's like when he can't back it up, all of a sudden he's humbled now. He goes right back to being a dick. God, it's just like, I look at this guy and I say he's a very negative representation. And a lot of people say, oh, well, he brought MMA to Europe in the forefront and he was the one representing England. Would you really want somebody like that to represent your country? Think about this. Would you really, really want somebody like that to represent your nation? No. Seriously, if anybody has an ounce of intelligence, no. You don't want somebody like that representing your nation because it makes you look stupid. I mean, let's say if you've never been to England, don't know anybody from England. I mean, thank goodness I do. All right. You'd probably think that this guy is a negative image. Ridiculous.
Sometimes, but also sometimes even with a negative image, the shining, the hometown hero sometimes will overpower that, that douchiness that could come off otherwise.
Ugh. I'm so glad we don't ever have to mention his name in the podcast ever again, unless he comes back into competition to get his ass knocked out. Fuck that guy.
Is he going to pull a Terry Funk? And
probably.
Just retire, come back, retire, come back.
And if he does, well, then it's whatever, man. I really, really will. We'll never mention Bisping's name on this podcast ever again.
All right.
I'm just glad he's done.
Boy, we're making a list of people we're never going to mention anymore, huh?
We are.
I guess we should call it the Benoit list.
Oh. That's kind of pushing the envelope here.
We have Michael Bisping and Glenn Notaro.
Hey. Stop right there, please.
So those are all right. So we'll just add it to the list.
My God, you just made the list.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Not you, Larry.
Oh,
that'll come later. Anyway, so a perfect segue into this is we go from one prick to another. Is Dana White, has he lost his fucking mind? Has he seriously lost his mind?
Why do you say that?
He wants to eliminate early weigh-ins.
Now, I heard about this. I'm sure you're going to explain it. Does he want to eliminate the actual weigh-in, or does he want to eliminate the whole fanfare of the weigh-in?
I'm not 100% sure as to exactly what he wants to eliminate here as far as weigh-ins are concerned.
I mean, he has to do a weigh-in.
Well, allow me to say this, okay? I don't know if he wants to do the main one still and keep that there or what, but I do know for a fact it's quite simple. Allow me to put it to you this way, okay? I've said it since the very, very first episode of the Yin and the Yang, that the UFC is currently, right now, the most successful professional wrestling promotion. Now, for those of you who did not listen to episode 1 and now just tuned into episode 36, allow me to explain to you why I say what I say, okay? Now, bear in mind, the subject here is that the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship, is the most successful pro wrestling promotion in the world right now. Right next to, second to that would be probably Bellator, okay? Or One Fighting Championship if you want to include an international spectrum. But why is the UFC the most successful pro wrestling organization? Well, what they figured out is how to build up and promote a fight. And they're using the same tricks that all the territories that the NWA, AWA, WWF, WCW, WWE, whatever you want to call professionally today, ROH, TNA,
USW.
USW, okay, thank you very much. I agree. Basically, what they're doing is they're using all the tricks of promoting, right? You take one fighter who is considered the face, the guy that everybody wants to cheer for, kind of like either a hometown hero or just the good guy here who's humble, who's respectable, kind of like me, right? And you pit him up against a fighter, okay, who is considered the heel, like a bad guy, like Bisping, like Josh Koscheck, like you, Larry. So basically somebody that you hate, that you don't like. I'm sorry, what? Oh, I thought you said something. Anyway, so yes. So what you do is you basically sell tickets to find out exactly what happens when you compare their skills, their abilities, and you put them in an octagon, not a ring, but in this case an octagon, and in a cage, and you find out what happens. Now, how do you build the story? Well, there's press conferences. There's weigh-ins, you idiot. Right? Now, if you eliminate the weigh-in, you're destroying pretty much the storyline. You're taking away a part of the storyline. You're taking away a part of the buildup. People pay to see shit like this. Yeah, they want to come in and see the weigh-ins. They want to see their fighters. They want to see if they made weight.
The weigh-ins definitely seem to be a whole extravaganza unto itself.
It's kind of like what fan access is to WrestleMania.
Exactly. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Right? Now, if you take that away, well, then what the fuck are you building now? Whether it's the main weigh-in, whether it's an early weigh-in, well, what's next? Press conferences? Are we going to do away with that too? How stupid can you be?
Do the weigh-ins draw buy rates?
I don't know if that's a great question. I don't know if they draw in buy rates, but I do know they build up the fight. It's definitely broadcasted on UFC Fight Pass. I'm sure there's international media. And as of late, as of the last few UFCs, the weigh-ins have been pretty interesting. There are fighters that are not making weight, and then they're given an hour or two to see if they can make weight. And what these fighters go through to cut that weight is ridiculous.
Yeah, I hear what you're talking about, and I get it. I get the idea of the reason to have the weigh-ins, but then again, I also get why not to have it. It's like me as a casual fan. I'm not concerned too much about the weigh-ins. I just want to see the fight. I want to see the main attraction. I don't really need to have the hors d'oeuvre. I want that sizzle. I want that steak to be right in front of me. So
I want a steak right now.
honestly, right?
That don't sound too bad right now,
Little
bro.
Peter Lugers, maybe, to celebrate the success of the Yin and the Yang podcast.
Oh, we're actually what? You're actually gonna say. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate
No,
that.
listen, and you'll flip the bill.
That. Thank you
and
so much.
You'll pay for the whole thing. See how this is your podcast.
I'll flip something else in front of you if you don't take the bill.
What?
Flip you the bird.
So with these weigh-ins, I you know what? It wouldn't bother me any if they went away.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to say, man. All I know is that the only thing I can explain to you is that this is just, it's taking away, it's basically taking away the build-up to the fight. And I think it's just absolutely dumb that they would take away something that's fan interactive, because isn't that what you're fucking there for? I mean, isn't that what you're supposed to be promoting here? Come on, man.
Come on, yeah.
Now, allow me to say this. We're going to jump from one prick to another prick to a third one. Okay? Now, you ready for this one? Because this is pretty stupid. Oh. All right? And he's lucky that he's not going to be a part of fucking Shootout this week. All right? Can you believe it if I told you that one of the Diaz brothers is pretty much I couldn't even believe this. Is it Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz? They all look the same to me. All right? Fucking this motherfucker, basically Nick Diaz, he gets slapped with domestic violence.
Really?
Now, explain to me, why is he not out of the company? Right?
That domestic violence, you really shouldn't, and you can't mess with it.
All right? I mean, it's like the NFL players get disciplined for it. How come UFC fighters don't get disciplined for it? I just don't understand. I mean, it's totally stupid, bro.
Are they claiming that they're waiting to see if there's a... if the allegations are true or not? Is it more like not necessarily him being suspended, but just him put on hiatus?
I'm not 100% sure. I just do know for a fact that it's being investigated, as to one article I read on MMAfighting.com. Mm-hmm. So I guess they're going to release more information, right? By the way, this just in. Apparently, let's see here. So since I missed the prelims last night of UFC 225, Rashad Evans got knocked out in 1 minute.
Wow.
From Anthony Smith, and according to Dana, I am the Vince McMahon of MMA White. Rashad Evans just told him that he's considered retired.
Really?
That's what it says.
Wow. A lot of these guys, it's just like they take a bad loss and then they just retire.
Yeah, I don't get that, man. It's like, come on, don't do that, Yeah. It's like, just don't let one loss. I mean, but then again, Rashad has been around for a long time.
Yeah, but still, it's. I mean, I'm not saying his record's perfect, but sometimes you may have to try and fight back.
He had a 53-second loss, right? And basically, Evans suffered a nasty first-round knockout, and pretty much his. So now he's lost 5 straight fights.
Oh man!
Right, and it's considered after a 13-year run. I think that he's done with MMA in this promotion. Mm-hmm. You smell that, Larry? I think I smell something called Bellator coming along the way, because that is
Bellator
exactly
bullshit?
What might happen. Maybe. Hey, look, they're on the rise, man. And also Evans. I mean, Rashad Evans is 38 years old. Okay. And I mean, he was, pretty much. Let's put it this way, okay? He was in the Ultimate Fighter 2 as the, I mean, let's put it that way. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's a wild.
Yeah. I mean, he's had He's went from heavyweight to light heavyweight, and then I think he went down to middleweight, right? Mm-hmm. And just, hey, look, it catches up with you here, 38 years old. He's done a lot. I met him. Actually, dude, I have something in common with Rashad Evans, John Jones, Frankie Edgar, and George St. Pierre. Those 4 fighters. Do you know what I have in common with all 4?
What is that?
All 5 of us trained under, at one point, a Muay Thai champion named Crew Phil Nurse at the Watt Gym in New York City. Really? And, I met GSP there. I met Frankie Edgar there. I met Rashad Evans. This is how cool Rashad Evans is. When I met him, he was in the ring. He was working with Crew Phil. Crew meaning like a Sifu, a sensei in Thai. And Crew Phil was working out with him, doing pad work, conditioning work. And you could tell Rashad just gave it his all in this 5-minute round, a drill. And 5 minutes is a long time in that ring, man. And he was just so exhausted. And as he's walking, towards the opposite side of the ring to catch a break, to catch a breather, I look at him and I put my hand out and I said, "Hey, what's up, Rashad?" And he basically comes to me. He doesn't even know who I am. He comes over to me, shakes my hand, gives me a handshake, and says, "How are you today?" And I said, "I'm doing great." And he was like, "You ready for class?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, get to it, man. Go for it." And then it's like he goes right back into working out. He didn't have to do that, The fact that he came over to me and just said, "Hey, what's up?" And, I was also the only one bold enough to actually put my hand out and say what's up to him. And then after the class, after he did that, he took our class. And I was like, so all of a sudden I'm doing shadow boxing and I look to my right and there's Rashad Evans shadow boxing right next to me. I'm like, really? Oh my God. Like, oh my God. Like the fanboy almost came out of me and I'm like, okay, I'm in class. I got to do this. So it was pretty cool, man. We did a pad drill. We did like 1 round of pad drill. Mm-hmm. He's good. I held pads for Rashad Evans. I mean, how cool is that?
That is cool.
And I was just unbelievable. He is strong. Like his kick is like 3 of mine. It's really scary. Oh, yeah, man. Very powerful guy. And he was really cool. He introduced himself to everybody. He was so nice, bro. So nice. He's awesome. I would love to actually meet him one day and tell him that story. I'm sure he'll remember, Yeah. So, yeah, man. You? Oh, yeah. Thanks. What's that supposed to mean?
All good.
Yeah, okay. You're trying to say, well, yeah, you're right. I mean, who could have forgotten an adorable panda such as myself? But anyway, yeah, so that was just a wild one, man. So UFC 225. So last night, as I was driving and I dodged the cops coming to pick you up, taking us to B-Dubs, all right? Let me ask you this. What was your thoughts on it?
I thought it was a good night of fights. I thought there were more fights on the better side than fights on the boring side. I was actually quite entertained by all 5 fights.
Do you think? Okay, now let me ask you this. Let's start off right away. CM Punk versus Mike Jackson. What do you think?
It's funny. What I think may be completely different than what the MMA world thinks, because a lot of people went on Twitter to either praise that fight or to put Punk in his place. So that one's really that everyone's, I think, going to be a little different on that. How I feel about the fight, though, he went to 3 rounds, so I think that's a better situation for him than what happened to him the first time around. Should they have put, though, 2 fighters who never won a fight on the pay-per-view? I know Punk's got the name, but maybe he didn't deserve to be on the pay-per-view. Maybe he should have been more the undercard.
Okay. Well, originally, I think that he was supposed to be in the undercard, but they moved it up because, quite frankly, whether you like it or not, CM Punk has a name. He has his name through wrestling, and that's a curse and a blessing. It's a blessing because he has a name. He's known by many. And it's also a curse in the MMA world because I don't think a lot of MMA fighters really respect professional wrestling.
No, they weren't happy.
I've said it before. They were not happy about the fact that he got a push, with a recordless, win or loss. He has no record in MMA. He's never done a fight before he fought Mickey Gall. And a lot of people wondering, like, why are you pushing him? Then again, but at least with Brock Lesnar, he had fought a couple of times. He fought once in Japan, and then he fought once prior or something like that, or maybe twice in Japan. So at least he had some sort of fighting in his belt. But the thing about it is that, look, we all start from somewhere. He had a horrible performance against Mickey Gall. And then this time around against Mike Jackson, Mike Jackson got ripped apart by being called a complete fucking idiot by Dana White. For his actions in the octagon.
Dana White, he's always been vocal. Dana White's not just going to sit there and not
Well,
say
of course
anything.
not, yeah.
So,
look, he's a rich fanboy is what he is. He's never gotten in there. He's never led by example. So who the fuck? I mean, the guy can critique it all he wants. And, yeah, he is the boss and everything like that. But, I mean, he's never suited up. He's never had his hands wrapped. He's never gotten in that ring. Yeah. I mean, he's just a guy that knows how to do business. And even that nowadays is controversial.
Well, business looks like it's doing good. But right. The Punk fight, it was what it was. What was the fight? What was the next fight on the card?
Okay. Now, do you think before we move on, do you think Punk's going to fight again?
I don't know, because he kind of walked out of the octagon, kind of upset. So I don't think so.
I think the reason why they put him in there is to get the crowd riled up. They were in the United Center in Chicago last night, which is Punk's hometown. And I think it's logical to put him on there. I mean, the crowd was definitely behind him, Mm-hmm. The thing about it is, will he fight ever again in the UFC?
More than likely,
right? More than likely, it'll be in the undercard, right? Or what was that? I smell Bellator.
Maybe. I feel like Punk, though, it's either go big or go home.
Right, exactly. Now, then, the next fight to mention is Tai Tuivasa, the guy who drinks the beer off of a guy's shoe.
Yeah.
Right? Tai Tuivasa fought Andre Arlovski. What do you think?
This guy
went the distance.
Yeah, the Aussie. He normally doesn't get out of the first round, but he actually went the distance on this one. He won by decision. I don't think he should have went that way.
I think it's complete bullshit.
Yeah. So that is what it is, though. That's why you got the judges. The whole gimmick, though, with drinking out of the shoe, that's dumb.
That's nasty,
But he's a tough guy. He was a tough SOB. So good for him.
I told you, you get a good kick out of watching him fight.
Yeah, he's a hoss. Yep.
I mean, I still think that Arlovski won the fight. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. But then again, never. There's a saying in the MMA world to never leave it in the hands of the judges.
That's almost anywhere. Boxing, federal court, anything.
Yeah, because these judges don't know shit, basically, is what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
The next fight, the Holly Holm fight. And we're talking about fights that really, made an impact on us. The Holly Holm fight.
Oh, I thought that was a great fight. Holly Holm.
Was very good. I love me some Holly Holm. She is awesome, man. She's really
fantastic.
Good. Now, they were talking about whether or not she was going to retire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because there was if you listen very carefully, except that it was very noisy where we were, mm-hmm. Joe Rogan, the one other jackass I can't stand in MMA, basically said that there was talk about Holly Holm trying to retire, and she said no, she didn't give a yes or a no, so we don't know. But I hope she doesn't, man. She's awesome. Dude, her barrage of boxing and kickboxing is just unbelievable how good she is. I'm glad she won. The other girl was tough too.
Oh, very.
She
very
really
much.
took a lot. I mean,
yeah.
Did that go the distance or no? It did, right?
I was just trying to think. I think it went the distance. Yeah, I think it did.
Okay. All right. Then you have the two fights that are oh God, let's leave the main event for the main event. So Rafael dos Anjos fights Colby Covington.
Okay.
Is that what his name is? Colby?
Yes, I
Colby.
think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I thought Dos Anjos was supposed to come out with a really good game plan. He's a technician. He's very, very strategic. And he just couldn't keep up with Covington's high level of energy. From start to end, Covington just schooled him.
I'm going to agree with you there.
There's no other way for me to describe it. He schooled him.
Yep.
Now, I don't like this guy Covington because he's another shit talker, right? Another smack talker Skywalker.
But you know what? Also,
I don't like that.
You know, they say I'm cocky, but it ain't bragging if you can back it up.
Are you saying that about you?
Oh, I'm the best there is.
Oh God, help me! Like somebody get me some Advil or Excedrin or some Aleve or something. Very funny, very funny. That's all I gotta say about that fight. Finally, we get to my Lord, oh God, I'm already having a tension headache thinking about this. So the main event, and there's a backstory to this. So one of my favorite fighters to watch is Yoel Romero, also known as the Soldier of God. All right. Cuban fighter, badass son of a bitch. He has the physique that I want to look like because, the guy is jacked.
And he's what, 41?
He's 41 years old, and he can move like he's 22. It's just weird with him. That's it, like a freak of nature. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In that respect. He fights his name Robert Whitaker, Robert the Truth Whitaker, or something like that. Yeah. So here's the thing, and I think the best way to analyze this fight, and I did promise the people a double dose here, so let's start this off.
I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
We're going to get sued one day.
Anyway, I hope not.
Well, I'm going to leave the company, simply as that, and then you can deal with it. So, here's the thing. The fight went the distance. It was a split decision. And Yoel Romero missed weight by 5 pounds, apparently. He had time to get himself down, and this is why I say the weight cut is brutal, because he got down to like 185.2, which is 0.2 pounds away from making weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically the state athletic commission says, well, now you can't fight for the title. What the fuck kind of a stupid rule is that? Now, go ahead.
I was going to say, but there's a reason why there's a weight class.
That is true. I give you that. Look, as fighters, and this is my humble opinion about it. As fighters, they have 2 jobs: make weight and fight. Okay? But them making the weight, I think, falls under the responsibility of their trainers too. If you have a team that doesn't know what they're doing, that should be also on them too, because they're supposed to be looking out for you, aren't they?
I can see that.
You know what I mean? They're supposed to be making sure that they guide you towards that healthy weight cut instead of doing an unhealthy one by losing 5 fucking pounds in an hour or whatever the hell they gave him, which is ridiculous. You know? So, Yoel Romero, okay, yes, he did. They both fought. I think it should be nominated so far this year as Fight of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. And I love watching Yoel Romero fight. And the thing about it is that, explain to me, it went to the distance, it went to the judges, and once again, these fucking morons, these judges who have probably never laced up a pair of gloves, who probably never got their hands wrapped, never got into an octagon, are basically the judges for this shit. They don't understand the game. They don't understand. It's like the people in any job. You have people who are in the offices who can't lead by example, and they're telling people they're supposed foot soldiers to go out there and do whatever, and yet they don't know what it's like out there, right? They only go by what they assume and see and think instead of by experience. And these fucking judges ruled it for Whitaker after Whitaker didn't knock Yoel Romero down once, okay? Romero knocked him down twice, right? And, I mean, how the hell do you give it What the fuck fight were they watching? These idiots.
But
what the fuck?
Taking away the outcome, though, the fight was amazing.
Of course. Absolutely. But look, I know that even if Romero won, he couldn't have fought for the title because because he didn't make weight. But still, it was robbery, man. I mean, Romero's an awesome fighter, and I really hope that Dana White doesn't cut him because that's bullshit. And Romero deserves another shot. I think there should be a trilogy involved. They both agreed in the interviews that they wanted to fight.
I couldn't understand either one of them during the interviews.
Definitely do it.
But I definitely a third match is gotta be in the works.
But it was some of the most horrible judging I've ever seen. It's robbery. So you know what? I have a question, Larry.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what happens to these three moronic, bumbling judges who don't seem to understand how MMA works? They don't understand how to judge correctly. And you basically do it by split decision and you give it to the wrong person? Now, this is debatable. I understand. But what the fuck were you looking at? All three of you. And you're lucky I don't have your names because all three of you suck.
Well, one of them
you know what happens, huh?
Whitaker.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
we'll throw them all in there in the way. We'll throw them all in.
Throw them all in because they probably all suck anyway.
Fair enough.
Judging by what they've seen, they fucked Orlovsky over.
This is true.
All right. You know what happens, huh? You've just been chewed out.
Oh, nice. Now, and I'm going to put a little exclamation on that. I'm going to add real quick the referee, the smug referee there a couple times. You know, they put the camera on him. He's got like that little half-cocked smile like, hey, what's going on, people? Look at me.
You know, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I get to ref something. You know what, you cocky-ass prick? All you are is a referee. You get slapped in the face and you start crying and you probably were just so happy to be in the same octagon as Holly Holm. You smug-looking referee.
Uh-oh.
You just been chewed out some more.
Yes, that's what I want to hear, brother. That's what I want to hear. That's awesome, dude. About goddamn time. Woo! We haven't heard it shoot out some more now.
It's been a little bit. It was a short one, but it was an exclamation, the dot on the exclamation point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, going into this weekend, all right, let me just say this, okay? We're going to do our Q&A right now. Our Q&A starts off with, interestingly enough, gentleman's name is Toby. Toby writes and says to me and Larry, hey, boys, what's up? Love the show. We want to know what is your opinion here about point sparring? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Do you have any respect for it? Okay, so point sparring is one of those things where I think it builds good coordination. I think if it's part of a sport, if it's part of a discipline, I think it's a good thing. Here's the problem with point sparring. The point of it is that a lot of people should not think that it's real fighting, okay? Because in a real fight, you're not going to have somebody hit you once and then stop the way that they do in point sparring. It should be looked upon as a drill, a very good one at that. If you wanted to use it for competitive purposes, again, I don't think that it's important. It should not be reflective as a real life fighting scenario. That's just what I think. And I think that any art such as taekwondo, karate, who do point sparring, I think it's very good. Sanshu does it as well, sometimes depending on what rules. I think it's cool. I have no problems with point sparring. But again, do not let it be known that this is a simulation of an actual fight. Just doesn't happen. All right?
Makes sense. There's really not much more I can add to that. That just totally makes sense.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So Kenny Zhang from San Francisco, California, writes to us and says, do you feel that Chi Sao is necessary in the art of Wing Chun? Yes. If so, Larry, Chi Sao is a drill that we have in Wing Chun, which is called the sticking hand. So what happens is that you have a partner, and there are certain set of sequences in which your hands are positioned to stick to your opponent or the person that you're sparring. And the point of the drill is to train sensitivity and reaction time.
Okay.
With Wing Chun people, the reason why we don't go up to each other, like if let's say you practice Wing Chun and I practice Wing Chun, we don't go up to each other and say, "Hey, how good are your weapon sets? How good is your form sets? Like how good do you do your forms?" No, we measure a person's caliber and skill level based upon how good is your chi sao is the question that's asked. A lot of schools don't emphasize it because they don't know what they're doing. A lot of schools don't emphasize it because maybe the teacher's not good at it. So there's a lot of reasons why it's not emphasized. But the schools that do emphasize it and make sure that it's learned as an art, and again, it is not an actual simulation of fighting. It is a drill to merely prepare you to train your sensitivity, your reaction time, your coordination, footwork, and things like that. So I think that it's meant for that purpose, and that is the heart and soul of it. I think it's very important. Okay.
Cool.
All right. The third question here is written from Isabella. Isabella writes to us from Waterbury, Connecticut, and she says she wants to know, what do you think about CKO kickboxing? Now, do you know what CKO kickboxing is, Larry?
I do not.
Okay. CKO kickboxing is basically a commercialized, I don't even know if they're a national chain, but I do know that they are within the tri-state area. CKO kickboxing is pretty much it uses kickboxing to me, okay? I've never taken a class, but it uses kickboxing techniques and movements, and they added and combined it into this very loud music, high dynamic workout. Okay. So, in other words, it's like some people call it cardio kickboxing. So, in other words, you're using the basic jab, hook, uppercut, cross. You're using kicks, and you combine it into combinations. And in between, they'll do some burpees, or they'll do drills where you're working with a partner. You'll be hitting. There's heavy bags everywhere, so they emphasize a lot on bag work.
Okay.
Now, it depends, and that's a great question, Isabella. It depends on whether or not you want to look at it in terms of a great workout. Oh, hell yeah. I'm sure it's a great workout. If you want to look at it in terms of will it get you the conditioning and the body that you want and meet weight loss goals? Yeah, absolutely. But if you talk in terms of actually learning an art or a discipline, I don't think so. I mean, unless your teacher really goes off the cuff, because I think that, and I could be wrong. Once again, I've never stepped into a CKO, and I never will. But I've heard people say that they've learned techniques. I've heard some CKO kickboxing places do not teach it. All I know is that, again, it should be looked upon more as a workout instead of actually taking Muay Thai or actually doing actual kickboxing, So that's how I look at it. Now, fans, if you have any questions, comments, anything, shout-outs, any requests, anything that you want us to talk about on the show, anything you want us to promote, please write to us here at yinandyangpodcast at gmail.com. Once again, it's yinandyangpodcast at gmail.com. We'll be more than glad to serve the people, as we always do. Like I said, don't fuck up your order, or else you'll get frustration, fries, and pound cake. Anyway, Larry?
I love that pound cake. Oh, God. I just pound it and love it. Wait, what? Oh, I'm sorry.
The hell are you talking about?
I'm thinking about something else. No, it's definitely right in. Let us know about the podcast. Also, hit us up on our Facebook page. Facebook.com/ just do a search for the Yin and the Yang podcast. You'll find us.
This is turning into kind of like a Booker T and Goldust at the movies type of thing.
Who's who?
Not me being Goldust.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, actually, in what you just said, me being Booker T.
Well, oh, my fucking tongue!
You stupid moron!
Oh.
You fucked up. You fucked up. You fucked up.
Oh, man. That's not cool, man.
He bit his tongue. You all right, man?
Oh, no, my tongue just, it's terrible right now. It's all swollen.
Stop talking, asshole.
Anyway, the swelling's starting to go down. Okay, I'm good.
Sure. Oh, God. All right. Now, should we get into this controversial piece?
Ooh, I thought we did that earlier.
Oh, no. There's another one. I promised the fans a push the envelope. This seems to be a pretty serious one, so might as well just see exactly where you stand on this.
Okay.
So it was reported, and actually a fan sent this to me. I didn't even know this was actually even for real. So, Larry, just when you thought this was insanity, it gets more insane. So NBC News is actually talking about, I kid you not, an active shooter video game. All right?
Yeah, this is this may be a little bit of old news, but it was definitely something that was on the forefront here for a few days.
Now, you're the video game guy here. You host your humble little show that apparently thinks it pays for my hobby here.
The Retro Gamers, which drops every Tuesday.
Yeah, now stop. Now, the Retro Gamers, this show pays for your little hobby over there called the Retro Gamers, okay? And basically, it's true. Now, this video game simulates school shootings, has been pulled before its release date after facing colossal backlash. Active Shooter encouraged players to open fire inside classrooms and auditoriums as a heavy metal soundtrack thumps in the background. It was set to come out June 6th, but Change.org position called for the release to be canceled and had more than 100,000 signatures as of Tuesday. How can anyone sleep at apparently this saying by one petitioner, how can anybody sleep at night knowing that they are profiting from turning a deadly school shooting into entertainment? Basically, marketing of the game comes days after the 23rd U.S. school shooting of 2018. Most recently, the incident in Parkland, Indianapolis. They're trying to profit off of it. Apparently, says one person. We're trying to prevent this from happening again. This is disgusting and vile. And it offered. Now listen to this. The computer game was going to be released via the digital marketplace Steam. And it was developed by Revive Games, which marketed as a dynamic SWAT simulator. It offered the option to play either the shooter or a SWAT team member.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what it says apparently. So, fuck. Okay, so here's the deal, right? Now, why am I bringing this up? Because little something that many of you should know about me is that before I do what I do now for the grind, I had a previous one, and I was a 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher for a couple of years with the New York City Department of Ed. And I liked it. And you have to understand that, like, I've taught in a classroom before, so this is not an opinion, okay? To me, when you look at a New York City public school, the school safety people are part of the NYPD. They don't carry guns, okay? They're not allowed to. I don't think they're trained, at least not when I was in school or when I was teaching school. These deadly shootings, I just think that the video game came at a very, very bad time, especially when it was so close to the whole Parkland thing and to the other school shootings that are happening. Now, I think that, and this is just, again, my opinion here, if it was part of a game that had a broader, wider picture, like let's say if it was part of like a Grand Theft Auto or a Saints Row or like a Sleeping Dogs, and that was an option to play, okay, that's one thing. But I think that where Revive Games fucked up is that they wanted to make an entire game based out of this. And I think that that's where it really caught people's attention, you know, to petition it. I mean, it's – look, I mean, we can go into the whole gun control bit. We can go into – it can get political. It can get a lot of things here. I'm trying to steer away from that, but I just think that it's I'm in the middle with this whole thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, you're the video game guy because, I mean, look, I'm not going to lie to you. Before we got on air, I was playing Sleeping Dogs, and I pretty much destroyed half of the city of Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's, you know, it becomes a First Amendment right. It becomes a
Second Amendment.
Freedom of speech.
Oh, no, I thought you meant talking about right to bear arms.
No, there's no actual gunplay, so that's why it's more First Amendment than anything. You know what? As much as I don't agree with the subject matter, a lot of people didn't agree with the subject matter of Grand Theft Auto when it first came out. A lot of people overseas, a lot of these war games are changed due to the climate that they're going over to. A lot of games are changed over here. For particularly Nintendo is notorious for changing and taking anything religious out of video games when they get translated to come over here in the US. So I personally don't have a problem with the game itself as far as being a game that is available to play. Should it have been pulled? No. Should it maybe not have gotten, let the sales dictate the game? Absolutely. But you even mention it, GTA. You carjack cars, you're running over hookers, you're stealing money.
You're killing gang members.
In Call of Duty games, you've played as the Nazis. You've played as the Allies. There was a whole game called Bully, where you played as a school bully.
Yeah, I remember that. I actually have the is it called the Scholars Edition or something like that? Or,
exactly.
Right, I have that. I mean, look at Saints Row. You're a gang member.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you look at Mortal Kombat when it came out. Like, you're literally telling somebody that you could rip their head and their spine right off their body.
It's a hot button topic.
Right. Sleeping Dogs is another violent game. Like, I mean, I was just playing Sleeping Dogs before we got on. I was running people over with a car.
Exactly.
Like crazy. I was I was doing tons of violent shit. Now, it doesn't mean that, for fuck's sake, it doesn't mean that I'm going to go out there now and go do the same thing like I see in a video game, you fucking idiots.
And that debate, that argument, I should say, not a debate, that argument has been happening for years.
Exactly, it has been. I agree.
Whether or not playing video games makes someone violent, which I say no. I'm a firm believer that it does not make anyone violent, even children. Because, quite frankly, we grew up watching Looney Tunes. I didn't want to go over and smack someone in the head with an anvil. You know what I mean? Like, I knew enough not to blow myself up with a stick of dynamite or something trying to chase a roadrunner. I know fact from fiction. But in today's day and age where everybody gets a trophy, that doesn't happen anymore.
Or like when hardcore wrestling came out, right? You didn't see me go into like fucking a classroom playing New Jack and Mustafa, diving off, like fucking slamming somebody's head with a steel chair or barbed wire.
It's a knee-jerk reaction. Yes, I understand the subject matter is tough. I get it. But it's still allowed to be made. I didn't realize you can play as a SWAT team. So that actually puts a whole different spin on it for me.
Okay.
And, it is what it is. I remember.
Would it be the same?
Real quick, I'm sorry. Only because I just want to make this point, and then I'll let you go.
Go ahead. No, please.
I think it was Modern Warfare. It was either 2 or 3. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It was either 2 or 3. Where when you got to I think it was the 3rd level, there was when the game began, actually, there was a warning that you had to agree to, saying that there's parts of the game that are extremely violent. Now, this is a Call of Duty game. Extremely violent, maybe sensitive to some game players. And we're not talking about the epileptic seizure warnings. We're talking about significant this is tough to watch scenes. And
oh, wow.
If you agreed to it, you played the level. If you didn't agree to it, I think you actually skipped the level. And the level was, you played as, if I'm not mistaken, you played as the hijackers of an airport. And
oh, wow.
You had to go around and pretty much just kill anyone you saw.
Wow, that's crazy.
But no one really batted an eye at that, which I don't think they should have. I get we have the ESRB ratings. Rate the game M, rate the game AO. Just because a game is adult only doesn't mean it has to be all about sex and everything. It could just be extremely violent or extremely just subject matter just too much, and let the sales dictate it.
Well, but I mean, okay, but then on the opposite end of the spectrum, can you also say this? I mean, can you imagine if some dumb fuck comes out with a 9/11 game? Right?
Full
I mean,
Flight
let's
Simulator.
say if somebody was stupid enough
Flight
to
Simulator.
do that.
Flight Simulator. The hijackers used Flight Simulator.
Okay, but how come nobody batted an eye at that? I didn't even know there was something like that came out. I'm not a game guy like you are, but I'm just saying, I didn't realize that. But
Flight
I'm saying,
Simulator.
Imagine if somebody came out with a fucking 9/11 game.
Well,
right?
No.
Can you imagine that shit?
Listen,
or something similar to it. I
mean, I'm just saying Flight Simulator actually kind of led to 9/11. But look, it would be tasteless. It would be in poor taste, I should say. Speaking of which, though, you want to talk about? We talked about it on actually on No Jokes. We talked about the Retro Gamers, where there's a game for the PC called Postal, where you play as a postman who just goes nuts, and you go around shooting people, killing people.
Is it inspired by?
I think so. Honestly, I thought so. Gary Coleman's in the game.
Yes, that's right. Now, I'm not laughing at the content of it. I'm just saying that because our buddy works for the post office and complains a lot about the whole thing.
Now, Postal was made into a movie by Uwe Boll, one of the worst directors in history. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
okay.
This guy doesn't know how to direct shit out of a bag. So, the opening scene in Postal is an airline, a flight. They zoom in on these two guys flying a plane. They're just talking, saying, hey, I think we need to call in, blah, blah, blah. They are Middle Eastern. They're not wearing captain's outfits like a captain of an airline would. And later, they're kind of going back and forth saying, should we call him? Should we call him? Meaning Osama bin Laden. That's what you kind of hint. That's what they say without saying it. And then eventually, a couple minutes into it, people start trying to break the door down, saying, there's people out here, blah, blah, blah. Basically, these people are hijacking the plane. Now, this isn't a movie.
Wow.
Then, cut to a window washer. Window washer, washing the windows outside of a tall building. Pull back. It's one of the Twin Towers. Basically, the scene then turns into the POV of the window washer as the plane flies into the tower.
That is fucking crazy, man.
Starting the movie. And the back and forth in the cockpit was comedic. Some parts of it were, admittedly, some of it was a little funny. But then you cut back and you just see the window washer you're scraping off some poop, and that's the least of his problems at that point because he's about to get hit by an airplane. So and also don't even and I'm not going to get started on the whole, what's happening in today's day and age with...
Right. I understand.
But, some people, they say one thing and, they do the opposite. So, bottom line, in my opinion, the game should not have been pulled. The game should have come with a warning. The game should have been rated accordingly. And I think the sales should have dictated. If anything, pulling the game is actually going to make it more wanted. People are going to want to play it more because now they want to be like, wait a minute, what is this game about?
They want to know exactly. So now you're adding to holy shit, like, but then, man, I agree and I don't agree because I agree in a sense that there are many other violent video games out there, but I think that it's a pretty sensitive time after all this craziness that's going on. That's been going on for years, actually. So ever starting with Columbine,
but is it,
I mean, all the way till now.
But when is it? I was going to say, when is it not too soon anymore? There's a child.
You're right.
There's a child slide. And this is the absolute truth. You can buy a blow up Titanic.
Yeah, child slide.
That kids can slide down because half of it's sinking.
Well, folks. Well, here's a solution. How about instead of just giving thoughts and prayers to every little incident, how about we change some things? How about we change the fucking way that shit happens? How about we try to prevent some things? And I don't care what political spectrum you fall upon. How about trying to prevent shit like this from happening? Trying to figure out a way instead of offering thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers are nice in an idealistic world, but we live in a world where you have to be the change that you want to see. Now fans, go ahead, man.
No, I was just going to say, today it's because that's the thing to do. That's what celebrities do. And every topic, 44 veterans kill themselves almost every day. But 2 celebrities kill themselves, and now all of a sudden, people want to talk about mental health. That's what I'm saying. It's hot button topics that are usually done at the wrong time.
Absolutely. Fans, if you have any input on this, again, write to us at yinandyangpodcast@gmail.com. We do not hide anything here. So if, we get something, we will air it out. We will put it out there. As long as it just does not, we try not to offend anybody except for stupid people who do stupid shit. All right. I mean, look, there's a saying in the professional wrestling business. If you don't want people to think that you're stupid, then don't do stupid shit.
You can't fix stupid.
You really can't. It's like what George Carlin once said, right? Pre-birth, you're okay. Preschool, you're fucked.
I'm trying to think who said you can't fix stupid. It was one of the rednecks of comedy.
Yeah, was it Foxworthy?
No, it was the other one. White. What's his name? Joe White. Why can't I think of the guy's name?
Not Larry the Cable Guy, right?
No. Get her done. No.
All right, man. Well. Here you go. We got 2 other things to cover here, so the other one allow us to say this.
I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
Did Jeremiah just hit the rewind button?
Oh, no. I told Jeremiah to thank you for Jeremiah. Appreciate that. Basically, I promised the people a double shootout here. This one's going to be a real quick one because I got to get this shit off my chest, man. I am not happy about this, and we got to do something about this right now. So as we are talking about this is fucking ridiculous. This comes from the New York Daily News, right? The mother of New Jersey mayor blames Koreans for her son's possible re-election defeat in a racist rant. So the mother of a politician, of a mayor, so this longtime mayor of Palisades Park, New Jersey, apologizes on Thursday on behalf of his elderly mother for penning a racist rant that basically targeting Korean Americans in the Democratic primary, right? So this guy, James Rotundo, rushed to defend his mom, but not the Facebook post that she penned accusing Koreans of committing voter fraud, according to NorthJersey.com, right? This is what she says. Now listen to this. Go to hell, Palisades Park. I quote, go to hell, Palisades Park. Let the goddamn Koreans have this fucking town. Lorraine Rotundo wrote, according to the newspaper. She also says, all of us Americans, and she puts it in capital letters, are so done. I'm going to suggest that only English be spoken in our borough hall, at least while an American, once again, putting the word American, is still the mayor. Now, his mother's rant hits Bergen County, which is one of the richest counties in the state of New Jersey, in the Garden State especially hard since the locale boasts one of the highest concentrations of Korean immigrants in the country.
Really?
According to the census data, right? Now, this is what the mayor has to say. Yesterday, my 80-year-old mother, who I love dearly, put up a very inappropriate Facebook message that she sincerely regrets. Rotundo said in a statement that she apologized and retracted her statement, right? The mayor said his mother is, quote-unquote, mortified by these posts and didn't mean these hurtful things. I've never heard my mom talk like this, and I believe that when she says she is mortified and did not mean these hurtful things. He went on to say that he does not agree with her and respects our Korean residents. Rotundo faced off Christopher Chung, a Palisades Park councilman, during the Tuesday re-election, but the results are too close to declare a winner. It says that Chung was leading apparently by 18 votes. Now, you know what I have to say about this, Larry?
I feel like you have a question.
Not yet.
Oh.
I'm not Korean, but it's getting there. I'm not Korean, but I am Asian. And I feel that there are some people have written into me about this, and they showed me the thing. They said, now, do you forgive this woman? Because apparently she's like, goddamn, she's elderly, and basically she comes from, and a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, you should pardon her because, you know, she comes from, she's 80 years old. She comes from a very different generation where Asians are not looked upon very highly. They're looked upon as like second class. Some people have described Asian people as second class white citizens, if you can imagine that. Do you pardon her? Do you not pardon her? You know, for her actions in saying this? Well, look, I understand that many years ago was many years ago, and I get all that. And I've dealt with my share of racism, discrimination, prejudice my life long. You know what? All I have to say about this is simply read the article in the Daily News. You come up with how you feel. My only reaction to this entire thing, now I can sit here and go, oh, fuck you, you bitch, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let the fans tell me what they think of this. But I do have a question, though, Larry. You know what that question is?
Oh, what question is that, sir?
Do you know what happens when stupid people say stupid shit, right? Like we just said, if you don't want people to think you're stupid, then don't say stupid shit. Don't do stupid shit. But apparently, this 80-year-old lady has a mouth on her. She seems to be her mind seems to be sharp enough to make sure that, you know, she considers Korean Americans to be, or Korean people to be like the bane of Bergen County in Palisades Park. So my question is simply, do you know what happens, lady, huh? Do you know what happens when stupid people such as yourself say stupid shit that basically fucked up your son's chances of being reelected, possibly? Huh? You know what happens?
Hit him with it, Chew.
This is what happens. Lorraine Rotundo, you've just been chewed out.
Oh, a double serving.
Fuck.
2 scoops of chewed out.
Fucking 2018, and we still have some sick fucking people out there thinking like this. Makes me sick to my stomach, man. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. You know? Now, the last thing, before we deplete our resources, Larry, allow me to say simply this, okay? Mm-hmm. And I don't want to take forever by saying this. However, Legends of the Ring, this is our main event topic for this week. Legends of the Ring, Monroe, New Jersey, at the Ramada Inn or the Ramada Hotel. Let me tell you, man, for some odd reason, I felt like I got there at about like 10:30, 11 o'clock because I slept in a little late. Mm-hmm. It seems though a lot of people were there, but then it seems though the last time when you and I went, it really wasn't that many people, you know? Mm-hmm. This is when we were promoting Frank's show as well, when we went to the Legends of the Ring, and that's when you got into an argument with the promoter, right? And I think you went to go see Edge, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing I have to say right off the bat is I want to give a massive shout out, a huge shout out of love and respect to my boy Tori, my newfound friend Tori. This guy is awesome. Now, we live in a world where there are a lot of fake, pretentious people. I got to say, Tori, if you're listening to this, you are one of the most genuine people, man. Very cool, very respectable, very flat out, good dude, you know? And he was the guy, when you initially walk in, after you get your wristband, you're the first person he meets. Tori also, and I was joking around with him last time I saw him, I thought he was New Jack. He looks like New Jack. And I don't want to call him the fake New Jack because there's nothing fake about Tori. Tori is his own man. He's a great dude, and it's just so cool talking to somebody who you can virtually every topic that you can relate to, you know? Mm-hmm. And Tori's the man, you know what I mean? And we were talking. I haven't seen him in a while, and he sees me, and I'm like, oh, man, I remember you from last time. He's like, oh, my God, what's up, bro? What's going on? He gives me a pound, gives me a hug. And we started talking and stuff like that. And he told me this funny story about when he met New Jack, some shows, some conventions back.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, man, it was being, really cool. I got some minutes to talk to him, and then I went out there, walked around. Who's the first person you see? And every legend that was there, and there were many, was very nice. Whether you got a picture or an autograph with them or whether they would speak to you regardless. I spoke to Raven, who was right then and there.
He's cool.
I said, hi. Yeah, Raven's cool. I saw Sonny Ono, Ultimate Dragon, and I just nodded. I didn't even. I wanted to find Brandy first, but I shook Gene Okerlund's hand. I shook Dominic DeNucci's hand.
Oh, cool.
Muhammad Hassan, I shook his hand. He was pretty cool. KM from Impact Wrestling.
Okay.
Winter.
Yep.
I got to say hi to them. I got to say hi to Greg Valentine. Greg Valentine just looked kind of out. He looked really tired, man. But I shook his hand. I met like a lot of people, right? And basically, the first person I had to get a picture with was AA Arn Anderson. Let me tell you, man, the guy is so cool. He's very intelligent, very knowledgeable. He's a big guy. And I don't mean big meaning fat. I mean, the guy was he's built very well. Very tough. I mean, but you could tell. And don't let him having a serious look fool you. He is one of the nicest people. I invited him to the grind, to my grind, if he wanted to go. I gave him an original poster from 1967, a nice postcard of the lady itself. And I actually gave it around to everybody who I like, who I actually got a picture with. Yeah. So I got a picture with AA. One of the nicest people I've ever met, man. Very cool. He said that he looked at me and he says, you got the look to do pro wrestling, kid. I said, well, I'm 42 years old, Mr. Anderson. Little does he know that I'm the 2-time USW champ, but that's a different story. And, but I mean, he's a legend, and very much so. And he's like, oh, you got the look, 42 years old. He's like, hey, if you still want to do it, you can. It's not going to be easy, but you can. He goes, I'm 59, man. I said, yeah, but you're a legend and I'm not. And he starts laughing and stuff, So I met him. I got to meet Melina, who I wanted to meet for years. Melina is still as beautiful as ever.
Yeah, she looks amazing.
Yeah, amazing, very cool, down to earth, very respectable. I mean, it was like talking to her is like talking to like your best friend, meaning me, Larry. Oh. And it's like, well, for you. And except that she's like 1,000 times more beautiful than I am and a lot cooler. And she took a picture with me, and there's this beautiful energy about that woman. Oh, she's just like, has my heart. She's amazing. And no, I'm not cheating on Megan Martin here. Now, but Melina was so nice. I want to meet her. You know what I want to do with Melina? The next time I meet her, I want to drop down to that goal of 180, 185, and then I want to meet her for sure.
Okay.
And then take another picture with her when I've met my goal. And she said, hey, that's an awesome goal. You should definitely do it. Go for it. I got to I said I gave the Headbangers high fives. Let's see here. Yeah, they were there. I got to meet James Ellsworth.
Cool.
I shook his hand. He gave me a hug. He's so cool. That was a really nice guy. I thought he was part of the super ticket, but I think he snuck out and hung out for a while. I shook Johnny Rod's hand, Mario Mancini's hand. Now, let's see here. So I finally got to meet Ultimo Dragon and Sonny Ono. And by the way, Sonny Ono actually agreed to do our podcast.
Uh-oh.
He actually said, if you ever want us on your show, us meaning him and Ultimo Dragon, bro, I'm sorry. I nearly had a tension headache there, and I got nervous. And I was like, I got to fucking prepare for that one.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was cool. Sonny Ono, I think, should manage Shinsuke Nakamura so he has a representative that can talk, which would be awesome. And yes, folks, fans, Sonny Ono is the inventor of the selfie. I don't give a shit what nobody says.
Not Paris Hilton, but Sonny Ono.
Exactly, Sonny Ono. And it's actually documented on WCW. He was doing this since the 90s.
Yeah, it's true.
Now, we got to the moment of truth. The one person I wanted to meet. And I couldn't believe I met her, man. Oh, and I met Bill Apter, by the way. Just wanted to let you know. Bill Apter is a legendary journalist, reporter. Bill Apter has a book called Is Wrestling Fixed? He did a promo spot free of charge, didn't charge us anything for it, by the way, which is really cool, unlike somebody like Alan Oppenheimer. But that's a different story, right? Bill Apter literally did that for free. He said, whether you buy my book or not, you're a lifelong fan. I want to give back to my fans. I'm like, that is awesome. Didn't get a picture with Bill Apter. I was just recording it. I was just on that high of him doing a promo spot for our podcast. And you can check it out on our Facebook page, fans. Now, the moment of truth. Brandy Rhodes. All of a sudden, Brandy Rhodes, I've never been more nervous meeting somebody in recent memory. She was absolutely cool. And Larry, tell the fans what I did, brother. Go ahead. Tell her what I did. Now, first of all, I went up to her and I said, hi, Ms. Rhodes. And she had Bernard the business bear.
Yes.
All right?
Yep.
And I shook Bernard's hand and he gave me a hug. Paul. Okay. And thank you. And what happened was, I said, hey, when she met me, I was on the phone because I was trying to call you. And then all of a sudden I was like, I'm so sorry, Ms. Rhodes. And she goes, no, that's cool. It's okay. I'm going to use my phone right now anyway, if that's all right. And so finally we got to talking because I couldn't get to you. And then all of a sudden, a minute later, there's nobody right next to me at all. I take a picture with her. She signs an autograph picture for you. And then what happens? Take it away, Larry.
Well, I saw you called a couple times. I was at a birthday party, my friend's kid's first birthday.
That's a nice little alias. He was actually playing golf with the chief of police.
Oh, that was right. That was Saturday. I'm sorry. That's right. So, no, I was playing with golf today. Yesterday was the birthday party.
Right.
No, yesterday was golf. Today was
it was one of the two, goddammit.
It was one of the two. I don't remember. I was drunk. And so I called you back. I'm like, hey, what's going on, Aunt? What's happening? Any, you want to talk about the show or anything like that? And then with his shitty cell phone, with his speakerphone,
even Brandy admitted that.
I got to talk to one Mrs. Brandy Rhodes. So I had a conversation with Brandy Rhodes while this knucklehead over here kept trying to chime in and C-block me from Brandy Rhodes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No. She was actually very sweet, very kind. It was actually an honor to speak with Brandy. That was very cool. And I will, folks, make sure you hit the record button, even though the podcast is downloadable and it's on demand. You can listen to it at any time. But this will probably be one of the few, if not only time, I will say this. Anthony Chu, host of the Yin and The Yang podcast.
Geez, don't look that tense with the face that you're making right now.
Actually, I thank you for that gift, if you will. And you actually did think about me. And it was very nice and thoughtful that you thought enough to give me a call to be able to speak with Brandy, one of my favorite women on the wrestling scene. So that was very kind of you. Thank you.
You are welcome, because Lord knows that if it was the opposite, and let's say you met Ricky Steamboat, would you ever do that for me?
I have met Ricky Steamboat.
Fuck you.
Recently?
And if you met Ricky Steamboat again, would you have passed the phone on to him for me? No, you wouldn't. If you had to think about that, if you think long, you think wrong. That means no. Right, Larry? Exactly. So what your best friend does for you, you have no idea. All right?
I do a lot for you.
Yeah, okay. All kidding aside, you didn't pick up the tab at Buffalo Wild Wings last night.
But I have before.
Yeah, well, that's true. I got to give you credit for
Actually,
that. Now,
if anything, then you owe me.
How?
For B-dubs.
How?
Because I paid last time, you pay this time.
No, I don't think so. Now, I almost paid with my life with the Merrick Cops.
Well...
Yeah, okay. Well, why don't you resolve that shit first before you jump into the next
because
pile
I'm playing highlight with the chief of police in 2
that's
days.
Nice. Yeah, okay. Listen, all kidding aside, Brandy Rhodes was one of the most intelligent, most well-spoken, respectable, coolest chicks I've ever met. She is a really cool lady. And I would have loved to have met Cody as well, but I got to be honest with you, brother. It was a great time. And once again, a huge shout out to Brandy Rhodes because we at the Yin and the Yang, we love you, Bullet Queen. You're our Bullet Queen. We love you. And on behalf of the entire crew, all right. And oh yes, she got to shake my hand at least 2-3 times or something like that. oh my God. That is just one beautiful woman.
Yeah, she's very attractive.
She's, oh, wow. Okay. Now, before I faint and pass out here, Larry, anything on tap for the once again, Tori, if you're listening to this, man, I'm going to see you in October, and I'm going to say what's up to you, and I can't wait to see you again, brother. I hope you're doing well out there. I will see you in October. We will definitely be at Legends of the Ring October 13th. We just added that to our just when we thought we were out, they pull us back in tour. So, Larry, so peace out, Tori. Thank you so much for the love and respect and the support and for talking. And by the way, Tori and I, we both like the same divas. You know how much respect I have for Tori? If I was to get with Nia Jax and I knew that Tori liked her first, I'd have her get with Tori first.
Hey, is Nia Jax going out with Elias?
Don't say it. Don't say it. Shut up. I don't want to hear that.
Is that?
No. I'm going to pretend I did not hear you just say that. Don't buzzkill Tori and I's dream here, okay? Stop.
Is she doing more than walking with Elias?
Shut up. Don't say that. You know what? Mute him, Jeremiah. Mute him.
No, don't go ahead and mute.
Now, fans, I was going to let him promo and give you an idea of what's happening on the network, but we're not going to get that done now. All right? I think we've depleted the resources. So on behalf of the entire crew here, we want to thank you. We do apologize for last week not having an episode, but we certainly want to deliver you one this week. We'll see you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Folks, eat right. Take care of yourselves. Please use your left and right turn indicators. Don't text and drive. Be good to one another. And let there be peace in this world. Other than that, once again, take care of yourselves. We love you, and you can't teach that. Peace.
You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around.